It was a calm early morning at City Hospital. The sun had just started to rise, casting a golden light on the tall buildings. Nurses were busy preparing the wards for the day, and doctors were walking quickly to begin their rounds. Everything seemed normal. That was until a small, scruffy dog appeared at the hospital entrance. The dog looked unusual. Its fur was a little dirty and its tail wagged nervously. But what caught everyone's attention immediately was the black bag tied carefully on its back. The dog carried it as if it was very important. It barked softly and paced in front of the main doors, looking around as if it was asking for help. Security guards approached, unsure of what to do. One of them tried to shoo the dog away, but the dog did not run. Instead, it barked louder and nudged the bag with its nose. The guards were surprised. The dog seemed determined, almost like it had a purpose that no one could understand. Dr. Kamal, a senior doctor at the hospital, was walking towards the main entrance. He had worked at City Hospital for many years and had seen many strange things, but nothing like this. He stopped and watched the small dog. Its eyes were full of urgency and it seemed to be waiting for someone. Dr. Kamal bent down and gently called, "Here, boy. Come here." To everyone's surprise, the dog obeyed. It walked carefully towards Dr. Kamal but kept the black bag balanced on its back. Dr. Kamal noticed that the dog's paws were dirty and it was breathing fast. He could see it was tired but still determined. He carefully untied the bag and lifted it off the dog. Inside the bag, he saw a small blanket. He slowly opened it, curious and careful. His heart skipped a beat when he saw what was inside. It was a tiny baby wrapped in the blanket, shivering slightly. The baby's eyes were closed and its tiny hands were moving weakly. Dr. Kamal immediately called the nurses. Nurses rushed over, their faces full of surprise and concern. "Where did this come from?" one nurse asked, her voice trembling slightly. Dr. Kamal carefully lifted the baby from the bag and checked its condition. The baby was very weak but breathing steadily. It seemed to have been left in the bag for a while, but thankfully it had not been harmed. The dog sat quietly nearby, wagging its tail slowly but watching the baby closely. It did not bark or move away. It seemed to understand that this baby was in safe hands now. The hospital staff watched in amazement. They had seen many patients and emergencies, but nothing like this. A dog had brought a baby to the hospital asking for help. Dr. Kamal placed the baby on a soft hospital bed. The nurses immediately wrapped the baby in warm blankets and checked its vitals. The baby was weak but seemed stable. Dr. Kamal looked at the dog and smiled softly. "You are a very special dog," he said. The dog barked softly as if it understood him. Then Dr. Kamal noticed a small note inside the bag. It had been folded carefully and tucked in next to the baby. He opened it slowly. The note read, "Please save him. Time is running out." Dr. Kamal's heart tightened. Someone had trusted this dog to carry the baby safely to the hospital. The thought of the courage and loyalty of the dog made him feel amazed and emotional. The hospital staff gathered around. They whispered to each other, unable to believe what they were seeing. Some of the nurses took pictures of the dog and the baby, knowing that this was a story worth remembering. The baby's tiny face looked peaceful, and the dog sat nearby, patiently watching over the child. Dr. Kamal thought about how the dog must have managed to get to the hospital. The streets were busy and dangerous, and the dog was small. It must have known exactly where to go. It was as if the dog had a map in its mind or a deep sense of understanding about where help could be found. One of the nurses asked, "Do you think the dog belongs to someone?" Dr. Kamal shook his head. "I am not sure," he said. "But whoever it belongs to, it is incredibly brave and intelligent." The dog's loyalty and courage had already touched everyone's heart. The hospital administration was informed, and a small team was assigned to take care of the dog. They gave it water and some food. The dog ate a little but soon returned to the baby's side, lying down carefully and keeping its eyes on the child. It was clear that the dog was not leaving the baby no matter what. While the doctors and nurses worked on stabilizing the baby, Dr. Kamal thought about the possibilities. Why had the baby been left in the bag? Who had trusted a dog to deliver the baby to the hospital? These questions made him feel a mixture of concern and admiration. He admired the courage of the dog but worried about the story behind the baby. Other patients and visitors noticed the unusual scene at the hospital entrance. Some stopped to take photos, and soon, the story of the heroic dog began to spread. People were amazed that an animal could have such understanding and dedication. Many could not believe that a dog had literally brought a baby to safety. The hospital staff started calling the dog Hero. The DR name felt perfect because the dog had acted with bravery and care. Dr. Kamal smiled at the little dog. It wagged its tail and looked at him as if it recognized its new role in the hospital. From that moment, the dog became a part of the hospital family. Dr. Kamal checked the baby one more time. The baby's tiny heartbeat was strong, and it had started to suckle softly when given some milk. The nurses kept the baby warm and comfortable. The dog lay beside the crib, occasionally nudging the baby's hand with its nose. It was protective and gentle, showing a deep bond even in such a short time. Dr. Kamal decided to keep a close watch on both the baby and the dog. He knew that this was not an ordinary day at the hospital. Something extraordinary had happened, and he wanted to make sure that both the baby and the dog stayed safe. The hospital was no longer just a place for people in need. It had become the home of a miracle brought by a small, scruffy dog. As the morning passed, more hospital staff came to see the dog and the baby. They whispered about the incredible story and shared ideas about how the dog might have known where to go. Some suggested that the dog had been trained, but Dr. Kamal thought it was something even more special. The dog had acted out of love and care, and that was something no training could teach. By mid-morning, the emergency team had taken the baby to the neonatal unit for full examination and care. The baby was stable, and the doctors were hopeful. But the dog refused to leave the hospital. It sat patiently by the entrance to the neonatal unit, waiting for someone to let it in. It was clear that the dog felt a deep responsibility for the baby. Dr. Kamal patted the dog gently. "You did a wonderful thing," he said. The dog wagged its tail and looked at the baby. It was almost as if it was saying, "I just wanted to help." The staff were deeply moved by the dog's loyalty and intelligence. No one could have imagined that a small dog could carry a baby safely to a hospital. It was a moment that would stay in everyone's memory forever. The dog's courage, the baby's survival, and the dedication of the hospital staff all came together in a story that touched the hearts of everyone who saw it. As the day went on, the hospital continued its normal routines, but the story of the little dog and the baby became the highlight of the day. People were talking, taking pictures, and sharing the story with their friends and families. It was a reminder of how even the smallest creatures could make the biggest difference. Dr. Kamal looked at the dog one last time before leaving for his other rounds. The dog was lying beside the baby's crib, watching over the child carefully. Dr. Kamal smiled and said softly, "You are a hero, my friend. Thank you for bringing this baby to us." The dog barked softly, almost as if it understood the words. It was the beginning of a story that would inspire everyone at City Hospital and beyond. A story of courage, loyalty, and the unexpected ways in which help could arrive. After the morning excitement, the hospital staff carefully moved the baby to the neonatal unit. Dr. Kamal walked closely behind, carrying the black bag that had protected the child. Nurses quickly prepared warm blankets, soft beds, and all the medical instruments they might need. The baby was tiny, weak, and shivering slightly, but the medical team worked calmly and carefully. The dog followed closely behind, its tail low, but moving slowly. It seemed to sense the baby's fragility and did not want to leave the child alone. As soon as they entered the neonatal unit, the dog sat quietly at the entrance, watching carefully. Every nurse who passed by felt the dog's deep concern and intelligence. It was unusual, but the hospital staff quickly realized that the dog was not just a pet, it was a protector. Dr. Kamal handed the baby to Nurse Amina, who had the softest hands in the unit. She wrapped the baby gently in fresh, warm blankets and checked its pulse and breathing. "The baby is weak but stable," she said, smiling. "If we continue care carefully, the child will be fine." The dog sat near the baby's crib, occasionally nudging the blanket with its nose as if making sure the baby was comfortable. Dr. Kamal couldn't help but admire the dog's behavior. It was rare to see such devotion and intelligence in any animal. He turned to the nurses and said, "This dog has saved a life today. It deserves recognition for bravery and care." Meanwhile, some hospital staff had started to feed the dog. They gave it water and a small bowl of food. The dog sniffed the food but soon returned to the baby. It was clear that its priority was not eating or drinking, but staying close to the child. Dr. Kamal laughed softly. "You are very loyal, little one," he said. The dog wagged its tail gently as if acknowledging the praise. News of the unusual rescue quickly spread throughout the hospital. Patients, visitors, and other staff members came to see the little dog and the baby. Many were amazed that an animal could understand so clearly the urgency of the situation. Some whispered to each other, "How did the dog know exactly where to go? How did it find the hospital and deliver the baby safely?" Dr. Kamal thought about these questions as well. The streets were busy, full of noise and people. It was difficult even for adults to navigate them safely, yet the dog had carried the baby carefully without any help and had reached the hospital. The intelligence and bravery of this small creature seemed almost unbelievable. While the baby was being cared for, Dr. Kamal decided to check the black bag again. It was clean and strong, designed to protect the baby. Whoever had left the baby in the bag had trusted the dog completely. This realization made Dr. Kamal feel a mixture of curiosity and admiration. Someone had believed that a dog could carry a child safely to the hospital, and that faith had been rewarded. Nurse Amina gently lifted the baby for a checkup. "The baby needs warmth and proper feeding," she said. "It looks like the child may have been left outside for some time." "That is why it is weak," Dr. Kamal nodded. He knew that careful monitoring and medical attention were necessary. The baby had survived because of the dog's quick thinking and determination. The dog remained near the crib, lying down carefully and keeping its eyes on the baby. It would occasionally nudge the baby's tiny hands as if comforting the child. The nurses smiled at the scene. It was unusual and heartwarming. They had seen many babies in need, but rarely had they witnessed such loyalty and care from an animal. Dr. Kamal called a small meeting with the hospital staff to discuss what should be done next. They decided that the baby would remain in the neonatal unit until fully recovered. The dog, being an important part of this rescue, would be allowed to stay nearby. The hospital administration agreed, understanding the special bond that had formed between the dog and the baby. Meanwhile, a few of the staff members took pictures and videos. They wanted to document the unusual story. Soon the images began circulating in the hospital and beyond. People who saw the story were amazed and inspired. A small dog had carried a baby safely to the hospital, and everyone agreed that this act was nothing short of heroic. Dr. Kamal spent some time observing the baby and the dog. The baby, though still weak, had started to show small signs of movement. Tiny fingers stretched and eyes opened briefly to look around. The dog responded immediately, moving closer to ensure that the baby was safe. It was clear that the dog had a strong sense of responsibility. The nurses prepared a small feeding for the baby. They carefully fed the child with a soft bottle, while Dr. Kamal and the other staff monitored every movement. The baby sucked the milk slowly but steadily, and the doctors felt relief. If it had not been for the dog, the baby might have been in serious danger. While the baby ate, the dog lay down beside the crib, resting its head gently on its paws. Its eyes never left the baby. Every now and then the dog would make a soft sound, almost like a quiet reassurance. Dr. Kamal watched closely. He realized that the dog's behavior was not just instinct. It was love and concern. Some visitors to the hospital noticed the unusual scene and asked the staff about it. The story of the dog carrying the baby spread quickly. People were curious about how the dog had managed to carry the child safely. Dr. Kamal explained carefully. "It seems this dog understood the importance of getting help. It brought the baby to our hospital, and now we are giving the child full medical care." Everyone who heard the story was touched. Some visitors left small donations to support the baby and the hospital. Others shared the story with their friends and family. The dog became famous almost instantly, and the staff began calling it Hero officially. Despite the attention, the dog did not change its behavior. It continued to watch the baby, calm and attentive. Dr. Kamal thought about the courage it must have taken for the dog to carry the baby through busy streets. The loyalty and determination of this small animal had saved a life. Later in the day, Dr. Kamal spoke to the nurses. "We should make sure the dog stays comfortable," he said. "It played an important role in this rescue. We cannot forget its contribution." The nurses agreed. They gave the dog a small bed near the neonatal unit, food and fresh water. The dog accepted these gifts but quickly returned to the baby's side. The hospital continued its usual routines, but the story of the heroic dog and the baby remained the focus. Everyone in the hospital wanted to check on them. Patients, staff, and visitors came to see the baby and the dog. Each person who saw them was moved. The bond between the dog and the baby was clear and deep. Dr. Kamal felt a sense of pride. The baby was now safe, and the dog had shown an extraordinary act of bravery. It was a reminder that kindness and courage could come from unexpected places. This small creature had not only saved a life, but had also brought hope and happiness to everyone around. By the evening, the baby had rested comfortably in the neonatal unit. The dog lay quietly beside the crib, keeping watch. Dr. Kamal looked at them and smiled. He knew that this was just the beginning of a remarkable story. The bond between the dog and the baby would continue to grow, and everyone at the hospital would remember this day forever. The staff named the dog Hero officially, and they celebrated the courage it had shown. Hero had brought the baby safely to the hospital, guided the staff to the child, and stayed loyal throughout. It was a true act of bravery and love. Dr. Kamal whispered softly to Hero, "Thank you, my friend. You saved a life today. We will take care of this baby just like you would." Hero wagged its tail and rested its head near the baby as if understanding every word. It was the start of an incredible journey, a journey of care, love, and trust. Hero and the baby would face the days ahead together, and their story would inspire everyone who heard it. By the next morning, City Hospital was buzzing with excitement and curiosity. The story of Hero, the little dog who had brought the baby to the hospital, had spread throughout the staff, visitors, and even the nearby neighborhood. Everyone wanted to know more about how such a small creature could perform such a courageous act. Dr. Kamal, while proud of Hero, knew that the baby's safety and health were the first priority. The neonatal unit had prepared everything carefully for the baby. Dr. Kamal checked the baby's vitals and smiled. The child was slowly gaining strength and reacting to gentle touches. Its tiny hands moved slowly, and small noises indicated it was becoming more alert. Hero remained close by, watching every action carefully. It was clear that Hero had bonded with the baby, and the hospital staff were moved by the devotion of this small dog. As the baby rested, Dr. Kamal called the local police and social workers to the hospital. The authorities had to investigate how the baby ended up in the black bag and why no one had reported the child missing yet. Dr. Kamal explained the situation in detail. "A dog brought this baby here," he said. "It carried the child safely in a bag and did not leave until the baby was in our care." The social workers were surprised but intrigued. They had seen abandoned children before, but never had an animal been the rescuer. They carefully examined the black bag and the note that had been left with the baby. The note was small, with handwriting that seemed rushed but filled with urgency. It simply said, "Please save him. Time is running out." The handwriting indicated that someone had trusted the dog completely. They had believed that a small creature could find the hospital and deliver the baby safely. The thought amazed Dr. Kamal and the staff. How had the dog known the way? How had it carried the baby without any help? These questions puzzled everyone. But the answer was simple in one way. The dog had acted with loyalty, intelligence, and love. Police officers carefully checked the neighborhood and nearby streets for any reports of a missing baby. Surprisingly, there were no reports. It was as if the baby had been carefully hidden until Hero decided it was time to act. The officers began to question anyone who might know the family or the dog. Some neighbors recognized Hero immediately. They explained that Hero often roamed the area but had never shown such determination before. Meanwhile, hospital staff continued to care for the baby. Its tiny hands curled around soft blankets and its eyes opened for longer periods. Nurse Amina noted that the baby seemed to respond whenever Hero moved near the crib. "It is like the baby recognizes the dog," she said. Dr. Kamal nodded. "The bond is already strong. This dog has protected this child in a way that is remarkable." The social workers began to consider the possibility that Hero had acted alone to save the child. Animals often act on instinct, but Hero's behavior was beyond instinct. The dog had not only delivered the baby to a safe place, but it had also waited, guarded, and comforted the child. This was a display of intelligence, loyalty, and courage that touched everyone deeply. Meanwhile, some visitors came to the neonatal unit, eager to see the famous dog. They watched quietly as Hero sat near the crib, moving gently whenever the baby shifted. Children who visited smiled and waved at Hero. The dog barked softly, not aggressively, but almost like a gentle greeting. It was clear that Hero had become a symbol of hope and care in the hospital. The hospital staff started referring to the black bag as a miracle bag because it had protected the baby during the journey. They examined the bag carefully and found that it was strong, waterproof, and safe for carrying small items. Whoever had left the baby had thought carefully about the child's safety, and Hero had completed the task perfectly. Dr. Kamal decided to speak with the media carefully. He wanted to make sure that the story was shared without causing panic or confusion. When the story of Hero and the baby appeared in the news, it quickly went viral. People were inspired by the courage and devotion of this small dog. Many called Hero a hero of the city, a true savior. While the investigation continued, the hospital staff took care to ensure that Hero was comfortable. They provided food, water, and a small bed near the neonatal unit. Hero accepted the care briefly, but always returned to the baby's side. It was obvious that the dog's priority was the child, and it would not leave until it felt the baby was safe. Social workers carefully reviewed the note again. They wondered about the handwriting, the urgency, and the choice to rely on a dog. It was unusual, but it showed the trust someone had placed in Hero. Whoever had left the baby believed that the dog could find help, and that trust had saved a life. Dr. Kamal and the nurses noticed that Hero seemed to have a routine. It would stand guard whenever someone approached the crib, and it would lay down quietly when the baby slept. Hero's presence seemed to calm the baby. The small child would move less and rest more when Hero was nearby. It was a natural bond built on care and protection. Police officers continued their investigation in the neighborhood. They asked residents if they had seen anyone leaving a baby or behaving suspiciously. Most residents remembered seeing Hero roaming the streets, but no one had noticed anyone with a child. It became clear that Hero had acted independently to bring the baby to safety. The hospital staff watched in awe. Hero had done something incredible. The dog had found the way to the hospital, carried the baby carefully, and waited until professionals took over. It had shown patience, understanding, and loyalty. Everyone agreed that Hero was extraordinary. Social workers also spoke to Dr. Kamal and the nurses about the future of the baby and the dog. They planned to keep both safe until they could find the family or ensure the child's long-term care. Hero would remain with the baby as long as necessary. It was clear that separating them too soon would be harmful. As the day progressed, Hero became more familiar with the hospital staff. It would follow them gently, wagging its tail occasionally. Whenever the baby stirred, Hero would move closer, protecting and comforting the child. The staff laughed softly at the dog's seriousness. Hero had taken on a responsibility that most humans could barely imagine. Dr. Kamal reflected on the events. It was rare to witness such bravery, intelligence, and care in an animal. Hero had saved a life and reminded everyone at the hospital about the power of loyalty, courage, and love. It was a lesson in empathy and dedication, coming from a small dog that had done something truly remarkable. By evening, the hospital staff felt a sense of peace. The baby was resting comfortably and Hero was nearby, alert and calm. The investigation had not yet revealed the parents or the family, but it was clear that Hero's actions had given the baby a second chance at life. Dr. Kamal patted Hero gently. "You have done something no one could have imagined," he said. Hero wagged its tail slowly, resting its head near the baby. It seemed to understand every word. The hospital staff quietly watched, realizing that this small dog had become a symbol of hope for everyone. The story of Hero and the baby continued to inspire everyone in the hospital and beyond. It was a reminder that courage could come from the most unexpected places, and that love and care were powerful forces. Hero had brought a miracle to the hospital, and its actions would be remembered forever. As the night fell, Hero curled up near the baby's crib, keeping watch over the tiny child. Dr. Kamal and the nurses knew that this was not just a rescue. It was the beginning of a lifelong bond. Hero and the baby had shared an experience that would connect them forever. The hospital lights dimmed, and the quiet hum of machines filled the neonatal unit. Hero remained alert, watching every movement. The baby, safe and warm, slept peacefully. Dr. Kamal smiled as he left the unit for the night. He knew that the world had witnessed something extraordinary, and he felt honored to be part of this story. It was the start of a new chapter for Hero and the baby, A chapter full of hope, care, and the promise of safety. The investigation would continue, but for now the most important thing was clear. The baby was alive, safe and surrounded by love, thanks to the courage and loyalty of a small dog named Hero. Days passed at City Hospital, and the story of Hero, the small dog who had delivered the baby, continued to capture the hearts of the staff, patients, and visitors. The baby was growing stronger each day. Its tiny hands stretched, it made soft noises, and even managed weak smiles when someone spoke gently. Hero, as always, remained close to the crib, watching every movement and responding to the smallest changes. Dr. Kamal often stood by the crib, observing the unique bond between Hero and the baby. It was clear to him that Hero had formed an attachment that went far beyond ordinary care. Whenever the baby stirred or made a small sound, Hero would move closer, nudging the baby gently with its nose. The nurses and staff were amazed. They had seen many extraordinary moments in the hospital, but nothing compared to the loyalty and care shown by this dog. The hospital staff continued their medical care for the baby. Warm blankets, gentle feeding, and careful monitoring ensured that the baby grew stronger each day. Hero remained patient and calm throughout, often lying quietly by the crib while the medical team worked. Visitors and patients often commented on how Hero seemed to understand exactly what the baby needed. Its presence brought comfort and calm, not just to the baby but to everyone around. One afternoon, as Dr. Kamal reviewed the baby's progress, a neighbor from the local community came forward. She had heard about the story and recognized Hero immediately. "That is the little dog from my neighborhood," she said. "It belongs to a family that lives nearby. I think I know what happened." The neighbor explained that Hero had been living with a poor family whose child was very ill. The family could not afford proper medical care, and they had been desperate to save their baby. They trusted Hero, their loyal dog, to help them reach a hospital where the baby could receive medical attention. They had placed the baby in the black bag and entrusted the dog to deliver it safely. Dr. Kamal listened carefully. The story explained everything that had puzzled him. Hero had not acted randomly. It had understood the urgency and had carried the baby with careful attention, avoiding danger and navigating the streets to reach help. The intelligence, loyalty, and courage of the small dog had saved the child's life. Social workers and police officers followed up with the neighbor. They found the family, who were overjoyed and grateful. The parents explained how they had been unable to get help for their sick baby, and how Hero had been their only hope. They shared how they had carefully placed the baby in the black bag, trusting Hero completely. Their faith in their dog had been rewarded in a way that touched everyone's heart. Meanwhile, back at the hospital, Hero continued its vigilant watch over the baby. The staff ensured that Hero had food, water, and a comfortable place to rest, but Hero preferred staying near the baby. Dr. Kamal observed the interaction and smiled. "This dog has saved a life and has shown loyalty like no other," he said. The staff nodded, equally impressed. Visitors who came to the neonatal unit were inspired by the story. They saw Hero lying beside the crib, watching over the baby carefully. Children waved at Hero and it responded gently with soft barks and tail wags. The scene created an atmosphere of hope, warmth, and compassion. Everyone who saw it felt that they were witnessing something extraordinary. As the baby grew stronger, the bond with Hero deepened. The baby reached out its tiny hands, trying to touch the dog. Hero responded immediately, nudging the baby gently and letting it feel safe. Nurses often smiled, saying, "The baby and Hero are helping each other grow. It is a beautiful connection." The hospital administration decided to formally recognize Hero's courage. They arranged a small ceremony, where Dr. Kamal and other staff honored the dog for saving the baby's life. Hero, calm and attentive, received pats and gentle words from everyone. The event reminded the hospital community of the power of love, loyalty, and courage. Meanwhile, social workers continued to coordinate with the family. They explained the medical care, the baby's recovery plan, and how Hero's presence was vital for the child's comfort. The parents were emotional and thankful. They had feared for their child's life, and Hero had become the family's true hero. Dr. Kamal often thought about the intelligence and bravery that animals like Hero could show. He realized that Hero's actions were not just instinct, but also an extraordinary demonstration of loyalty, courage, and understanding. The dog had saved a life and brought hope to everyone who witnessed the story. As days turned into weeks, the baby's strength increased noticeably. Tiny hands stretched more confidently, soft giggles could be heard, and the baby began to respond to gentle sounds and movements. Hero remained by the crib, moving only to eat or rest briefly, always returning to the baby's side. The hospital staff decided to allow supervised visits from the family. The parents were overjoyed to see the baby improving and were deeply grateful to Hero. The dog recognized the parents immediately but never left the baby's side. It was protective, calm, and gentle, showing a level of care that inspired everyone. During one of the family visits, Dr. Kamal spoke to the parents. "Hero has saved this child," he said. "It is clear that the dog's loyalty and intelligence have been extraordinary. We must ensure that both the baby and Hero remain safe and happy." The parents nodded, tears of gratitude in their eyes. They could hardly believe that their small dog had accomplished such a remarkable feat. Hero's story spread further throughout the city. People were amazed at how a small dog could understand danger, find a hospital, and deliver a baby safely. The dog's bravery became a symbol of hope, inspiring countless individuals. Schools, media, and communities shared the story widely, celebrating Hero's intelligence and courage. The hospital staff continued to care for both the baby and Hero. They ensured the dog was comfortable, given attention, and allowed to stay close to the baby at all times. Hero responded with loyalty and calmness. It was clear that the bond between the baby and Hero had grown stronger with each passing day. Dr. Kamal often reflected on the lessons learned from Hero. The dog's courage and loyalty reminded him that even the smallest creatures could perform incredible acts of bravery. Hero had saved a life and inspired everyone around it. The story would remain in the hearts of the hospital staff and visitors forever. One evening, as the hospital grew quiet, Hero lay beside the baby's crib. The child slept peacefully, safe and warm. Dr. Kamal and the nurses watched quietly, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. Hero had not only delivered the baby but had also stayed vigilant, patient, and loving. It had become more than a rescuer. It was now a guardian. The mystery of the baby's arrival was finally solved. The family had entrusted Hero, and Hero had completed its mission flawlessly. The baby, once weak and vulnerable, was now thriving under the care of the hospital and the watchful eyes of its loyal guardian. As the night grew darker, Dr. Kamal whispered softly to Hero, "You have done something no one could imagine. You have saved a life and given hope to a family." Hero responded with a gentle wag of its tail and a soft bark, as if acknowledging the praise. It was clear to everyone at City Hospital that Hero's actions had changed their lives. The dog had reminded them of courage, loyalty, and the extraordinary ways love could manifest. Hero had brought hope and safety to a fragile life and had inspired everyone around it. The baby, now resting peacefully, had begun to grow stronger each day. Hero remained beside the crib, a constant presence and protector. Dr. Kamal knew that the bond between the baby and Hero would last a lifetime. It was more than a rescue. It was the beginning of a lifelong connection filled with love, loyalty, and trust. And so, as the hospital lights dimmed and the quiet hum of machines filled the neonatal unit, Hero stayed alert. The baby, safe and warm, slept peacefully. Together, they had overcome fear, danger, and uncertainty. They had formed a bond that no one could break. Hero, the small dog, had fulfilled a mission of courage and love, and the hospital staff would remember this story forever. The city had been buzzing with the story of Hero, the small dog who had saved a baby. News outlets, social media, and local communities celebrated the dog's courage. People from all over were inspired by the story of loyalty, bravery, and love. Hero had not only saved a life, but had also reminded everyone of the extraordinary bond between humans and animals. At City Hospital, the atmosphere was warm and hopeful. The baby had grown stronger every day. Its tiny hands now reached out more confidently. Its eyes sparkled with curiosity, and soft sounds of laughter and cooing filled the neonatal unit. Hero remained by the crib, alert and protective. It was more than a pet. It was a guardian and a true companion. Dr. Kamal often spent hours observing Hero and the baby together. He noticed how the baby would move slightly whenever Hero was near, and how the dog would respond immediately, nudging the baby gently or licking tiny hands. The staff agreed that this bond was unique. Hero had become an essential part of the baby's recovery and emotional growth. The parents visited the hospital daily, watching in awe as their child thrived. Tears of gratitude filled their eyes when they saw Hero lying beside the crib, ever watchful. "We trusted this little dog with our baby," said the mother softly, "and it has given us more than we could imagine. Hero saved our child's life." The father nodded, overwhelmed with emotion. They understood that their small dog had performed an act of courage that no human could have done in that moment. The hospital administration decided to organize a special recognition for Hero. They wanted to honor the dog for its bravery, intelligence, and loyalty. A small ceremony was planned in the hospital garden, attended by staff, family, and a few visitors. Cameras and phones captured the event, celebrating Hero's incredible achievement. During the ceremony, Dr. Kamal spoke to the audience. "Today we celebrate not only the life of this brave child but also the courage and devotion of Hero," he said. "This small dog has reminded us that love, loyalty, and bravery can come from the most unexpected places. Hero has saved a life, and for that we are all grateful." Hero, calm and attentive, lay near the baby's crib during the ceremony. The dog's gentle movements and soft barks showed that it understood the importance of the moment. Staff and visitors clapped softly, respecting Hero's quiet dignity. It was a touching sight. The baby, sensing the excitement, cooed and moved slightly, reaching toward Hero. The dog responded immediately, nudging the baby gently, keeping it safe and calm. After the ceremony, the family and hospital staff celebrated quietly. Hero received a new collar and a comfortable bed, but it spent most of its time near the baby. The staff understood that Hero's presence was essential for the child's emotional well-being. Hero had saved the baby, and now it would continue to provide love, comfort, and protection. As weeks passed, the baby grew stronger and more active. Tiny hands grabbed toys, small giggles filled the air, and the child responded to voices with bright smiles. Hero remained close, guiding the baby with gentle nudges, sitting nearby during feeding, and even resting its head on the crib whenever the child slept. The bond had become inseparable. Visitors often came to the neonatal unit to see the pair. Children waved at Hero, who responded gently, and adults admired the loyalty of the dog. Nurses and staff shared stories of Hero's courage, explaining how the dog had carried the baby through streets, navigated to the hospital, and stayed by the child's side without hesitation. Each visitor left inspired and filled with hope. Dr. Kamal noticed the impact of Hero on the hospital community. Patients, staff, and visitors had been reminded of the power of courage and compassion. Hero had brought more than safety to a baby. It had brought joy, hope, and inspiration to everyone who witnessed the story. The family was finally allowed to take the baby home, under careful supervision and with medical advice. Hero, of course, accompanied them. The child and the dog had become inseparable, and it was clear that Hero would remain the baby's protector, friend, and loyal companion. On the way home, the family's neighbors waved, knowing the story of Hero had touched everyone in the city. People smiled and cheered for the little dog that had done something extraordinary. Hero trotted proudly beside the baby's stroller, alert and calm, as if understanding the importance of its role. At home, the baby continued to thrive. Hero slept beside the crib, guarded during naps, and played gently whenever the child was awake. The parents were grateful for the courage and loyalty of their dog. They often reflected on how a small dog had saved their child's life and brought hope to their family in a moment of desperation. Dr. Kamal and the hospital staff continued to follow the baby's progress. They were thrilled to learn that the child was healthy, happy, and developing normally. Hero remained an essential part of the baby's life. Its loyalty, intelligence, and gentle nature had created a bond that would last forever. The story of Hero inspired many in the city. Schools invited the family and Hero to speak about loyalty, courage, and love. People shared the story in newspapers, on social media, and in their communities. Hero had become a symbol of hope, reminding everyone that even the smallest beings could make a big difference. One evening, as the family sat together, the baby resting in a crib and Hero lying nearby, Dr. Kamal called to check in. He smiled as he saw the scene. The baby was smiling and reaching toward Hero. Hero responded gently, nudging the baby's hand with care. It was a perfect example of friendship, trust, and protection. The parents expressed their gratitude once more. "Hero has given our family a gift we will never forget," said the mother. "It saved our baby and has filled our lives with hope and love." The father nodded, holding the baby gently as Hero rested calmly by their side. The family understood that Hero was more than a pet. It was a true hero, loyal and brave, whose actions had changed their lives forever. Months passed, and the baby continued to grow strong and healthy. Hero remained a constant companion. The bond between them was extraordinary. Hero protected, comforted, and played with the baby. The family felt safe knowing that their child had such a loyal guardian. Dr. Kamal visited occasionally to check on the baby's development. Each time he marveled at Hero's intelligence and loyalty. He realized that Hero's actions had not only saved a life, but had also reminded humans of the power of compassion, courage, and love. Hero had taught an important lesson without words. The city continued to celebrate Hero's bravery. People often asked to meet the dog, take pictures, and hear the story. Hero remained calm and gentle with everyone, showing the same loyalty it had shown the baby. The story inspired children and adults alike. People were reminded that kindness and courage could come from the most unexpected sources. As the baby grew older, Hero continued to watch over the child. The dog had become an inseparable part of the family. The story of Hero and the baby remained a source of inspiration, not only for the family but for everyone who heard it. Hero had saved a life, inspired a community, and created a bond that would last forever. One evening, Dr. Kamal reflected on the journey. Hero had carried the baby to the hospital, shown courage and intelligence, and remained loyal through every challenge. The baby had grown strong and healthy, and the family was grateful beyond words. Hero had become more than a dog. It was a symbol of hope, love, and loyalty. The story of Hero would be told for generations. Children would grow up hearing about the small dog who had saved a baby, inspiring them to act with courage and kindness. The family would always remember the day their loyal companion brought hope into their lives. And so, Hero continued to guard, love, and protect the baby. The small dog had changed a life, united a family, and reminded everyone of the extraordinary power of loyalty and care. Hero had become a true hero, not only in actions but also in heart. The baby, now healthy and thriving, reached out toward Hero, who nudged gently in response. Dr. Kamal smiled, knowing that this bond would remain strong for life. Hero had brought safety, hope, and love, and in return, it had been rewarded with trust, affection, and a family forever grateful for its courage. The city would never forget Hero. The small dog had performed an act of bravery that inspired everyone. Hero's loyalty and intelligence had saved a life and reminded the world that love and courage could come from the smallest, most unexpected heroes.